How are you all? Well, so far things are good. It's nice to see you all here, and thanks for coming. My name is Bill Cunningham. I'm the... Well, I wasn't expecting that, thanks. Well, that's nice of you to say. Talk to my wife, I think she still loves me too. That's right, it's our anniversary tonight, 23 years. Thanks, that's nice of you to do too, because I didn't get her anything. That's right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're here tonight to celebrate 37 years of Whizz White at Salem State. Whizz says he was hoping for a special, but we didn't give him. Well, now, I have to be honest with you that when I walked in and saw so many people here, I thought Dick Elia was retiring. Oh, good. I have a lot of mixed feelings tonight. I think I speak on behalf of all the theater people in the room when I say that this event really should be about me. So to make it easier for me, anything I say about Whizz, I really mean me. Whizz, you're an extraordinarily handsome man. The faculty revere you. To your students, you are a god. Thank you. I don't want you to think that those of us in the theater have oversized egos, but a little earlier tonight, I saw David with a cocktail napkin, and he was writing, "For my retirement party." More people, bigger venue, more fabulous production values. Note to self, hire Whizz. And yes, David did use the word fabulous. Of course, Whizz is one of the great theater designers of all time. I know because he told me. In all seriousness.
Only when I was trying to sell you a
That's right. In all seriousness, ladies and gentlemen, it is right that we're here tonight to honor Whizz. As I said at his retirement dinner, Whizz's nickname stands for Wizard. And this wizard over 37 years has done a lot of things. One of those things was to make the Callan Theater appear in the basement of a Sullivan building. He took an auditorium and he turned it into the main stage theater. And he outfitted both of those spaces to make them state-of-the-art theaters for his students to have a laboratory to train in. And in those spaces that became our theater, he built worlds. And in those worlds, he had students help him build. And he had students inhabit those worlds. And a lot of those students are in the room. And what he gave those students were memories on stage, and some of those memories changed their lives. Because in the theater, ladies and gentlemen, we believe a life can be changed in a moment. So Whizz, thank you for 37 years of incredible moments. Well, as I said, there are a lot of former students here, or as Salem State now calls you, donors. Don't worry, we're only asking for money. We're not asking for hearts and kidneys. Of course, when I look at the age of some of us up here, anything you can give. When it comes to giving on behalf of Salem State, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce Eric Champion. Eric? All right.
My comments to Bill was, how am I supposed to follow that? Here goes. Good evening and welcome to the Alumni Weekend 2011. Again, I am Eric Champion, the president, and it is my privilege to serve as the first president of Salem State University. With a task of representing over 50,000 members, I am humbled to be here with you this evening. Considering our long history as an institution, I am very pleased to say that this is our first ever theater reunion. And it's also our largest this alumni weekend. So I'm very, very pleased. Yes. As suspected, you turned out with such a strong response to reconnect and celebrate this evening. I encourage you to keep this synergy alive. The Alumni Association Board is very willing to assist you in this effort, but we need your volunteer leadership to make it happen. Donors, I want to thank you for your generous contributions in honor of Professor Whizz White. Your gifts will help us fund the renovations to the main stage theater. If you have not had an opportunity to extend your generosity, please secure an envelope located on the tables. And as I glance around this assembly gathered, the outpouring of affection and respect for you, Whizz, is clearly evident. In recent days, I remarked that Salem State University is like a holiday tree. Our beloved president, Dr. Meservey, is the angel atop the tree, and the rest of us are the many ornaments that give beauty and meaning to the tree. In this case, Whizz, I'm confident that you are among the brightest and most magnificent ornaments that we could have hoped for.
Actually, I thought I was more like the big star.
Thank you for your commitment to our alma mater. Your imprint in our community is permanent. Thank you very much for your indulgence.
There's some people I just want to thank quickly. Eileen O'Brien, Lisa McFadden, Julie Dennehy. Is she still here or has she gone to the hospital yet? She's pregnant. Kathleen McDonald from the Center for Creative and Performing Arts, Karen Gahagan, and of course, the wonderful, incredible Jim Fallon. All right. Did you all see the bobblehead? Did you all see the... You like the bobblehead? It's an uncanny resemblance to Whizz. It's just like him, except it doesn't talk. And Whizz, it keeps nodding and saying yes all the time. So hopefully you have all bought tickets to win this, did you? All right, well, if you didn't buy tickets, you clearly don't want it. So what I would ask from you, we've got this lovely student right here. Rachel Alexander, one of our current students, a fantastic student. If you wonder why Whizz has been here for 37 years, and a lot of us have been here for a long time, it's because of students like that. What we're doing here, ladies and gentlemen, not only are we honoring Whizz, but the other way we're honoring Whizz is trying to renovate the main stage, which is something we've been trying to do for a long time. And the goal really is, what we're trying to do is raise money for the light booth up on the main stage. I don't know, we have a lot of students here, and a lot of you floated through there. If you were if you're a designer, if you're a stage manager, that's really your space in the theater where everything is really happening. Because really what Whizz is doing all these years is making sure that every production we do is happening. And so with your generosity, we will be able to dedicate that space to be a real space for students to learn in. And then when they walk into that space, from here on in, every student that walks in can see a plaque for Whizz. So what I ask you, if you can give anything, the truth of the matter is, ladies and gentlemen, the state won't build us a theater. They'll build a science labs, which I don't mind saying because my wife's a scientist and we deserve science labs. But we deserve theaters too. We deserve the arts. And the world of the arts, as you all know, and a lot of you I've seen, all former students, you're here tonight because you've been working hard in the theater. The way the theater works, ladies and gentlemen, is the people who love it support it. They keep it alive. It matters. And it matters for generations of students to come. So anything you can give, whether you give it now or before you leave, I would appreciate it. Thanks. Now, for those of you who haven't been on campus for a while, Salem State College did become Salem State University. And that happened thanks to his wife. Sorry, President Servey, President Harrington. It's his night. I also want to thank Whizz for his work on SEAL Teams. What was it? SEAL Team 6, was it? Thanks for getting him, Whizz. Whizz was also the original founder of Facebook. He's done a lot of great things.
I didn't want any credit.
Salem State, as you know, has been Whizz's home for 37 years, but he's had another home. As much as it's hard for us to believe that he had another home outside the theater, but he did. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce his lovely wife, Ruth. Ruth, you are a middle school teacher? That explains a lot. Also in attendance tonight is Whizz's children, his son and his daughter, Caitlin and Ben. Caitlin, Ben? Caitlin, Ben, Thanks for letting us play with your dad. Ben, I didn't meet your girlfriend. What's her name? What is it? Evan. Evan? How are you? Where are you? You over there? Evan? How long you guys been dating? 5 years? Things going well? Good. I didn't get to meet her before. And I want to be rude. It's nice to see you. She's lovely. Caitlin's husband, Greg, is here. Greg? Must be easy being Whizz's son-in-law. It's easy being a daughter-in-law. Let's get going. Ladies and gentlemen, our first roast panelist is going to be David Allen George. Now, David has lived in Whizz's shadow for a long time. You misunderstand me. I just mean because Whizz is so big and David is so anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to introduce the incomparable, the talented, really the biggest-hearted person I have ever met, David Allen George.
I come not to praise Caesar, but to bury him. Whizz and I have known each other for almost 40 years, and in that time, he has been directly responsible for my 4 nervous breakdowns, 2 unexpected visits to the Betty Ford Clinic, 39 separate institutions, as well as with extensive psychotherapy. I had a case of severe shingles for 2 years. And of course, I have a tick on the right side of my face, which only shows itself when I talk of him. Sorry. Whizz and I have been called the odd couple, which we are. In reality as well as in the theater. We had the opportunity to play opposite one another as Felix and Oscar. I just want to make sure you didn't get that mixed up. Felix, Oscar. I remember Jeff Huberman saying once at a rehearsal, you know, I'm so glad I'm doing this. I really don't have to direct. I just have to sit back and watch the two of you kick the shit out of each other. You know, I also recall with great fondness, Whizz, that there was a day during rehearsal when you turned around and you said to me, you know, I'm afraid I'm not acting. You weren't. Then, of course, he admitted one day that he was taking some wonderful herbal compound to enhance his memory so he could remember his lines. That didn't work either. In the late 1970s, Whizz and I shared the auditorium lobby office together, and after 3 years, I decided that I would clean the office. But it was only his side of it. Now, I put all of the junk outside in the lobby. I had no right to do this, of course, but my Felix had had it with his Oscar. Whizz caught me halfway through the cleaning. Now, to say that the man was angry is the biggest understatement of the year. He said that he was going to kill me and hide my remains in the dungeon. I had to put everything back, he said, just the way that it was. So this included also an infamous desk blotter, which was covered in dried pizza sauce. It had over 1,000 undistinguishable telephone numbers and names. There were coffee stains on it, and of course there was something that looked like a patch of human fluid. I never asked him, and I never will. After this, you see, Whizz put down the law, and I came in on Monday, and there was a blue line of tape down the middle of the office. And he said, that's your side, and this is my side. My side was up against the wall. I had to crawl over my desk to get out the damn door. And he meant it. I called and pleaded with Charlotte Ettinger. I told her, I said, you have to find me another office space because Whizz is literally killing me. So Charlotte agreed, and she placed me in an office for 26 years to share with her and Dr. Myrna Finn. That is why I have the peculiar tick on my left side of my face. Sorry. It's a wonder, of course, as my current therapist tells me, that I ever outlived this. I should have seen it, however, coming when I first arrived here, Whizz, for my interview. I was replacing at that time Dr. Jeffrey Huberman, who went to Amherst, screaming at the top of his lungs, "He's your problem now." I should have known it was coming because after the luncheon interview, we were leaving and Whizz said, "Why don't you get on the back of my motorcycle? And I will take you back to Salem." Charlotte Ettinger, who had just stood up in the parking lot, screamed out, "Whizz, don't kill him yet, he hasn't even accepted the job." Then there was the first production. Many of you, I hope, remember this. A Midsummer Night's Dream. Now, of course, I arrived here and the selection of the play and the concept had already been decided for me. It was trampolines. Whizz said to me with great glee, "Shakespeare on trampolines!" The man had a look in his eyes that was unearthly. Well, I asked him, I said, "Please, Whizz, do any of the actors actually know how to jump on a trampoline?" "Who cares? You'll teach them." I asked again, "Well, what happens if they refuse and they don't want to do it?" He said, "Oh, come on. If I can do it, any actor can do it." I have yet to this day to see that man on a trampoline. It would be worth the price of admission, I'm telling you. But, as usual, you know that Whizz has always been called the steamroller. You know. You cannot get a word in edgewise. No, he will crush you. He says, "I'm in the shadow, I'm in the ground." So Whizz, of course, as the steamroller, conveniently convinced all the magical characters in A Midsummer that they could jump from the pods that were suspended over the trampoline and the trampolettes. I don't know what the hell a trampoliette is. He assured all of the actors, "Look, I have a hydraulic floor underneath the main trampoline, and it's going to come up in just milliseconds, so it's a walking surface, and then it'll go down in milliseconds, so all you fairies can jump onto the trampoline." Well, it did go up in milliseconds, but it went down as slow as possible. So Whizz conveniently placed 3 technicians underneath the trampoline who would push it as fast as they could, so any of Titania's group would be able to jump off the pods, leap into the air, and disappear off stage left or right. Whizz went even so far as to promise them that there would be a device of safety that he would create. A little tiny stop-and-go sign. It's about as big as I'd say a cigarette pack. You could see that from 15 feet in the air. So he said, "Look, the red means don't jump, and the green means jump." Did anyone ask the poor actor Brad Johnson if he was colorblind? As true as I stand here tonight, Brad was in the ER and I was down one fairy. Damn right I'm still angry. After this, then came an onslaught of abuses to me. There was an eagle with a 16-foot wooden wingspan. This was for the dark of the moon. It was an inspiration that Whizz had overnight. So I arrive in the morning, he grabs me, takes me to the main stage, where he has awaiting an Eagle for its launch. And there was a little band of potentially insane technicians who were all awaiting Whizz's command for the bird to fly. Then Whizz shouted something that was in a technician's code. I don't know what the hell it was. And this huge wooden nightmare, beak and all, comes streaking down from the top of the stage manager's booth, down in a swoop over the main stage audience as Whizz is screaming in my ear, "The Eagle lands! And the show ends!" Well, the Eagle landed in rows E, F, and G. Which would have killed 40 patrons if they were in the house. I said, "No, Whizz." Whizz said, "What?" I said, "Cut the Eagle, Whizz." "Are you kidding? I was up all night working on that thing. You're killing me." I simply said, "Better you than the entire audience." After this, Whizz just went on to hit me right and left. There was this 5,000-pound ship suspended above the main stage floor by one fulcrum. It would go 360 left, it would go 360 right, it would rock to and fro, it would even go out 3 rows over the audience. To say the least, that is why I ended up at Danvers Hospital. You know, this was a conspiracy, as I found out, because only Tom Luddy and Whizz White do shit like this. I can prove that to everybody in this room. I can prove it. Right after this came a play called Babylon Has Fallen. Yeah, classic. A classic Whizz and Luddy choice. Where in the world do they find plays like this? I don't know. I don't want to know. I don't want them anymore. Whizz said, "Hey, we need an island." And he brought in 4,000 pounds of real sand. Now, I have to ask you, in all honesty, does this man understand anything about theatrical realism? Not a clue. Whizz, it's called Let's Pretend. And you know, lying in my hospital bed, I came to realize why Whizz was doing this. For one very important reason, you see. I am an actor. Whizz hates actors. I have no idea how many actors this man has done in. In 37 years, it could be thousands. I haven't been able to count. He says he loves actors. Yes, Whizz loves actors. He eats them. Yes, no, honest to God, he does. He eats actors. I mean, look at the man. You know, he told me, "I'm a vegetarian. I don't eat anything that has eyes. So I guess everything else on the planet is fair game." Vegetarians, you know, are supposed to look like aliens from another planet, not like they ate another planet. Oh, come on. I know it's his night, but whose side are you on? Honestly. And I'm not angry. Not at all. You know, and don't think that he doesn't eat these young actors up. We have many undergraduates still unaccounted for. Both BA and BFA. He makes no difference. So, you know, some of the people, however, that are actors that somehow or another are swayed by him, kind of like Darth Vader calls them to the dark side. Oh, you know what we're talking about. Technicians. I would like every actor in the room now to applaud. See what happens? He ate all of them. So they become technicians, stage managers, after he convinces them they could actually become production managers. Oh, the thought of it. Of course, then they all end up following the Great White into one of his feeding frenzies. There's an example here. George Berry, who thank God is here tonight. George, God bless you. George played Mackie in Threepenny Opera, and he was convinced by Whizz that he could fly from the second story of this huge set, stage left, all across the floor to the second story, stage right, on a rope with no harness, just a knot tied where his hands were supposed to go. Oh, he made it. And then later, again, Whizz convinces George in Something's Afoot, a delightful little musical, that as the butler he should be blown up on stage, thrown from the second story of that set, stage left, again to stage right. You know, Whizz blows up actors left to right like they were reading. You know? George then slams into a wall at one of the rehearsals and gets up and goes, "Oh, my fault, my fault." I just did the choreography and still got shingles. Whizz loves to throw actors off stage. We all know this. It thrills him. But you know something that's terrifying is once that they are in midair and disappear somewhere into the wings, he forgets about them. I asked him, I said, what's with you? Why can you just dismiss them? Well, they're no longer part of the scenery. I think Brad Olson has to be the most abused actor in the history of this theater department. You know, Whizz, in his repertoire of bruised thespians, decided that from the third level of a scaffolding house left, Brad should, as one of the principal characters in the musical Hair, slide down to end up center stage at the beginning of a big number. He would slide down in this musical of love, peace, and harmony on a death slide. Did you hear me? Death slide. Then the poor guy goes on. I mean, Brad has been literally dumped, trapped, dunked, boxed, singed so many times that he finally got wise and decided he would also study design. Brad's a smart cookie. You see, he figured that if Whizz smelled him, he'd think he was one of his own. Valerie Stanford, she is here tonight. Love you, Val. Valerie Stanford was a sophomore when we were doing a play in the Callan No Exit. Whizz convinced the dear girl that she should lie on her back for the entire show under a 20-inch platform so that she could hold a little handle and make the door look like it opened and closed by magic. She had to do that 4 times in the show for 8 performances. Val to this day cannot wear turtlenecks. It's too tight. Then we have Janet Gottschalk Merriman, God love her, the poor girl. Whizz, obviously hungry after another actor, decided to put the poor girl in Something's Afoot in a full suit of armor and have her stand on stage for the entire first act. Only to have one moment just before the curtain when she did this. To this day, Janet Gottschalk Merriman cannot stay in her car for 1 minute. You know, this was another one of those conspiracies between Tom Luddy and Whizz White. They're both retired now. I can just see them doing this kind of work in Boston. As much as I would like at this moment, and I have taken far too long, to give a coup de grace to the man, I have to tell you, first and foremost, that he is truly one of the kindest people I've ever met in my life. In the mid-1980s, I lost all of my savings to a scam artist who was supposedly constructing a new home for my family. My wife, my 2 daughters, our dog and our cat, and me, we had no place to live. We had to be out of our apartment in a week and a half. Without hesitation, Whizz White came to me and he said, "I want you to move into the White House."
I meant Washington, D.C.
Oh, well, I made a mistake. No, really, seriously. Ruth and he only asked that we split the money for food. And we lived there for 3 months. Earlier, I told all of you. Earlier, I told all of you that Whizz and I have known each other through most of our educational and professional lives together. And I want you to know that we no longer finish each other's sentences. No, I think that we speak now telepathically. You see, Whizz will approach me even during Rent, which was his spectacle. Not mine, his. And he'll approach the stage manager's table, and I'll just reach up and I say, "I already made the note, Whizz." And then he'll be over house left or house right, and I'll get up and walk toward him, and he'll say, "I'll fix it tomorrow." The fact that this happens is no accident. Whizz and I have worked on a mutual level of respect for one another with a truly similar belief in the power of theater and almost a mythical belief, I feel, in one another's work and worth as theater artists. Whizz, you know, as Bill has already said it, is truly a genius at what he does, and everyone in this room has to know what kind of awe they feel or felt when they witnessed his work. He enhanced everyone in this room, especially me. I know that he is going to be nearby during his retirement. But tonight I have to tell you all that I have a genuine feeling of regret because I don't believe truly that I'm ever going to have another Whizz in my life. I love you.
Thank you, David. Thank you. I told you before that I'm the chairperson of the department, but for me and for a lot of us in the department, there is only one chairperson. Ladies and gentlemen, the director of the Salem Partnership and an advocate for the arts, Patricia Zato.
I'm going to lead a little understanding here tonight. Understand that I am the only person who ever survived 9 years as chairperson of this department. Understand that here I am again, having to follow David. Here I am again, talking about Whizz. As Bill mentioned at another event, he said that Whizz is short for wizard. And he insinuated that Whizz White is not magic, even though his name is magic. He said, and I quote, "In the hundreds of productions done at Salem State Theater, Whizz has had a hand in all of them, either as a lighting designer, a set designer, a director, an actor, a technician, a teacher, a mentor. Whizz's students were always under his tutelage. He has become, and they have become professional designers and technicians and stage managers, and he said it wasn't magic. I respectfully disagree. Whizz is magical. And let me tell you why. Whizz is from another galaxy. I'm serious. This is his first time on Earth. Now, you all know the concept of left brain, right brain. Left brain is logical, right brain is creative, and one is dominant. Whizz has only one side. And I'm going to prove it to you. I'm going to tell you some characteristics of a right brain person. 1, a right brain person prefers elusive, uncertain information and does not respond to verbal instructions. When I became chair, we had a production meeting every Wednesday, and I would give him instructions. I would just be very polite, and I'd say, you know, next week, could you give me a budget? Or could you give me a schedule? And the next Wednesday, he'd look at me as if I had talked Chinese. And I thought, I am either going to have to drop out the window, resign, or I've got to figure this out. So I decided to figure it out. And it was very simple. I got a very small notebook that fit into his shirt pocket. And he wrote it down. And if he could visualize it, if he could see it, let me tell you, every year he got one. I paid for it. It was not a big deal. And it worked. The second example of a right-brained person, they do not respond to authority. One day, I'm walking through the auditorium with the Vice President of Administration and Finance, a very nice man, very left brain, all dressed in a suit, and he says to me, "What's that hole up there?" Now, this is the good part about being in the theater department. I didn't miss a beat. I said, "Oh, you mean the lighting booth? That's been there for years." And I thought, I'm going to kill him. I'm just going to kill him, that's all, you know? And I was going to write a letter, and I was going to ask the administration, and I knew it was going to be hard to explain to them we need a lighting booth in the theater, or, you know. And I'm at the meeting thinking about this, and then I'm walking back to the office, and I'm thinking, that was great. And my right brain clicked in, and I thought, my God, we have a lighting booth. And I didn't have to write a letter. I didn't have to tell anybody. I'm going to keep doing this. So thank you, Whizz. The third thing and last thing is a right-brained person problem solves with hunches, is fluid, is spontaneous, and never takes no for an answer. He's free with his feelings, and this is true. Whizz always got his own way, and I'll explain why. No, I'm sorry, there's no more money in the budget, so you can't do that. And he would come back, his keys all rattling, you know. And he'd say, "Oh, but listen, this, and this, and this, and this." The 12th time, I'm telling you, I'd do it for 2 reasons. 1, to get him the hell out of the office. And secondly, because, you know, he'd never ask for anything for himself. But I knew that he really wanted to do it to make sure that the production was the quality he wanted it to be. Yes, Whizz. Whizz is truly magical, and this is my biggest concern. We can't clone him. He is, and he always will be unique. Bill Cunningham called him a legend and irreplaceable, and this is true. However, I strongly urge this university, this theater department, for the sake of all future theater majors, to search everywhere in the galaxy and tried to find somebody like Whizz White. Yes. To have a Whizz White at your back, making you see images, making you feel the passion, making you rethink, making you produce the highest possible level, and last but not least, making you believe that you can achieve the impossible. Whizz has done it all, and for that we're all most grateful.
There's my special.
There's your special. You're all set. Thank you, Patricia. Thank you for finally explaining Whizz's brain to us. Speaking of brains that work, that's a transition. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you a man who is a director, an actor, a scholar, and the best laugher in a room. Thomas Luddy.
Thank you all. Thank you. Whizz and Ruth, President Meservey, President Harrington. I notice you guys are on opposite sides of the room. What that means. Colleagues, alumni, and friends. The rest can leave now. I was asked to roast Whizz, but I find it hard to do that. I have too much affection for him. We've worked together for many, many years on many productions and had wonderful fights together about how they should be mounted, and have won through in more times than not to a successful production. We are a collaborative group, and Whizz has been my most important collaborator. But there is a side to Whizz which I can do this. It's David's fault. He raised the issue for me. Whizz has a dark side. Well, we all have a dark side. We're in the arts. We have to have a dark side. I do. Everybody in the arts here does. We need that in order to create. Whizz's is a small dark side. He's a big man, but you have to look for it, but I've been around him long enough to find it. This first paragraph is a response to something David said, because he didn't tell you the whole story about the sand in Babylon Has Fallen. There were all those tons of sand and 2 dunes on stage, you remember? We found out very soon that the sand in the auditorium was really dry. And it would seep into the seats out front. So we had to do something about that. So I was volunteered every day, 5 or 6 o'clock before rehearsal, to water the sand. True. I put the hose away and we go to rehearsal, and I come in the next morning. This is Whizz. Flowers had started to come out of the sand. This is true. Every day, more flowers would come out of the sand. Anyway, I think it's important. Some of you will know immediately what I'm talking about, and some of you won't, but you should, because there will be an exam after this. Whizz has an alter ego, a doppelganger, an evil twin, a dark side. When he arrived at Salem State from IU, he brought with him another new addition to the theater family. I'm not talking about David George.
That was 2 years later.
Yeah, but he came soon enough. I'll get to David George much later. You just have to wait for that. I'm working on it. Oh, the other guy who came was not an instructor, a designer, a technician, or a classified staff, or God forbid, a dean. He graduated from IU with an MA degree in IG&D, a program which we ought to have here at the university, and which Whizz should be very good at helping to get started because he's a master at this. IG&D, Information Gathering and Dissemination. Our man's job is to gather information about all of us, students, faculty, staff, the odd administrator, and compile the year's worth of all our idiocies, slips of the tongue, embarrassing moments, hot water we got ourselves in, artistic stupidities, academic bungles. No one was exempt. The only way to escape is either to graduate or retire. Hence Whizz is retiring. I retired. I got out of there, man. Not going to do that anymore. And we hope that when Whizz goes, his alter ego goes, and, well, we can't say his name too loudly here, but some of you will know him. He's Armadillo Cespulio. He was able to gather and disseminate information about all of us because he's a master of disguise. In reality, he's about so high, thin, agile, dark-haired, very plain-featured. I've seen him around the theater and classrooms, and especially in our meeting rooms. He sometimes appears as a workman with a tool belt, a coverall, and a name patch. You know. He sometimes even appears as faculty members, which is very sneaky of him. Once he successfully disguised himself as Bill Cunningham and turned up in my classroom. I ask you, what? Have you ever wondered why there are so many people at the tech table during rehearsal? At gatherings such as this, and I think I saw his shadow. You always have to see him at the side of your eye. I saw his shadow going over there to listen in on a really juicy conversation right there. At events like this, he will appear in a slinky blue dress with impossibly high heels. So he's probably here tonight, standing right next to you, and you'll never know it. But that's why I know that it's a separate person from Whizz, because Whizz is too big. He can't manage all of those disguises. I mean, have you ever seen Whizz in a dress? Come to think of it, doesn't bear thinking about, does it? No. Armadillo invented the annual report, which he personally delivered to Whizz, who was constrained to make that report public at the end of the year. Howls of protests, threatened suicides, promises of murder by inventive means, blackmail, nothing could prevent him from pursuing his appointed duty. Until he was forced into early retirement with the advent of a culture of political correctness. Ooh, that's right. This was shortly before the appearance of Topher Morris. There's no connection. None. No, honest. Has nothing. No, none at all. We still do annual reports, right? Every department does. But they're bodarized. They're only about the good things we do. I mean, where's the fun in that? We all thought he was gone. Armadillo has gone. But he's still here. He's doing his job underground, undercover, hidden away in nooks and crannies, behind stairwells. I have seen signs that he's even occupied my office from time to time, and you all know that my office is in the knee hole of Liz Masowitz's desk, right? Armadillo has to hide away that way because there's no room left for him in Whizz's office. David told you all about that. In my office, it's very crowded because there's this long shelf of notebooks in which Armadillo has written about all of us every year, and it contains the dirt that he's about ready to publish. He's going to publish. So to send him on his way with Whizz, unpublished, he's going to torment Whizz for the rest of his life. That's what I'm hoping. What we should do is dedicate a place in the theater with a nameplate on it that's appropriate to him. We'll do Whizz in the light booth, but Armadillo should have another place that's appropriate, the bottom drawer of a file cabinet, the third stall in the men's room, someplace, I don't know where. If you have suggestions, and I know there are some people out there who have really good suggestions, please send them to President Meserve. She will see that the appropriation is made. But it has to happen soon. I mean, really soon. Because the truth of the matter is that Armadillo is negotiating a deal with Google. If you don't believe me, annual reports. I'm returning them to sender via Whizz. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Whizz, you having fun?
I can't believe he's safe.
Whizz, it's hard to believe.
One,
Is it hard? Well, yeah, go ahead.
Pat Sato will love this. We were about to do a production of Antigone in the Callan, and I decided that the Callan was too boring. So I said, why don't we put the audience on stools where the actors usually are, and we'll take the seats out and we'll do the theater up on the seats. And Pat said, how much? And she went for it. We bought 50 stools. There's still some in the door. This is to Tom Letty. It's the Armadillo Award it's called the Orthopedic Surgery Award for his classic decision to let me use stools for Antigone.
Wow. It's hard to believe you're this old. When I heard that Whizz was in his 60s, I thought that just meant he was still sitting around getting high. Does he seem old enough to retire, ladies and gentlemen? You see how your friends will lie for you? Ruth just told me that Brooksby Village called. Your room is ready. Oh, come on.
And she's keeping the house?
No, we'll send him home. He knows how to use the tools. Our next speaker is a well-known drinker. He claims to be a wine connoisseur, but who are we kidding? The man needs an intervention. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you an English professor who always wanted to be in the theater department. I give you one of the most well-respected faculty members in the history of Salem State. Ladies and gentlemen, Dick Elia.
This is why I hate theater people. I mean, Who the hell wants to follow these guys? I'm up here dying, and I've just started. I can only tell you that I can't follow it. I will be brief. I'll be boring. But I want you to know that I've come here to help retire the great Whizz White. Well, that's not exactly true. Actually, I've been trying to get him to retire for years. One theatrical success after another, however, prevented all this. This man became a bloody institution, and I wasn't pleased. To be still more truthful, I've been trying to get him fired for years. It got so bad that I got to feel like a character out of Browning. You know, the mad monk and the soliloquy of the Spanish cloister going, "Grrr! There goes my heart's abhorrence." And the moment I saw the wretch, I hated him every day for his success. His artistic virtues were beyond me, but there's more. I was thinking of a multitude of allegations that would get him fired. I mean, almost any would do. I settled on seduction. Well, you aren't exactly a sex symbol. Yes, seduction. The problem, you see, had everything to do with his seductive talent, with his seductive imagination, with his seductive creativity, all of which seduced potentially good English majors who were, I'm told, and otherwise of sound mind, to transfer to the damn theater department. Now look at it. Never mind the applause, to hell with him. This would never do. I had to do something. I complained. I lamented. I plotted to remove that proverbial spot of joy that was on his face every time I saw him in the hallway after one damn success after another. His success was theatrical lunacy, really. His was brilliantly visually gymnastic, and I couldn't stand it. We kept losing English majors. Now years passed. Whizz was still here. There was more success. I tried praying, no go. I went to Voodoo Ventures, no go. He's still here. More productions, more Whizz White, more national awards, more student fascination, fewer English majors. Then came utter defeat. I mean, unequivocal defeat. There was a debate. Should Shakespeare be read or seen? Of course, I favored the former. Needless to say, I was right. But a stacked crowd of Whizz White crazies saw it quite another way and booed my every syllable. I still haven't gotten over it. In short, Whizz White's brilliance exhausted me. And now we are losing him, and frankly, I can't bear the thought of his retirement. There will be no more thoughts of possibly poisoning his wine. Which, I might add, I gave him. Of secretly ripping down his theatrical posters. Of possibly posting false Facebook allegations, anything. And now I'm not sure that I can deal with it. His retirement has touched me more than I think it's touched a lot of people in this room. And I know it's touched a lot of people, but it's hit me deep to the heart's core. So I give it up. I cede to him, to our Shakespeare of the stage. I honor him. And in the end, let us say that our greatness, that Salem State University's very greatness, in the end, was that we all had such a friend. Thank you.
Thank you, Dick. Our next speaker, and I'm sorry for the rest of the panel, but I think this is probably the most important speaker. As a former student, she represents, along with the other students in the room, the reason that Salem State University exists. She is and always will be one of Whizz's students. She is a graduate of the BFA program in stage management. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Molly McCarter.
So I'm here to represent the student population, and I'd like to start this evening off with the way that Whizz would start most of his classes, rehearsal processes, semesters. Hiya, kids! Hiya, hiya! For those of you who missed that, it was pluck your magic twanger, Froggy. I'd like to take a moment. Who the hell is Froggy? And why would anyone want to pluck his twanger? I just got to put that out there. I suppose, really, though, that and many other Whizzisms were part of that sort of special brand of Whizz White education through confusion. When you enrolled in Salem State College, you signed up for 4 years, maybe 7, and I've recently learned some of us 11. Let's just say many, many years of confusing brilliance. Not that it wasn't his fault. He just was so passionate about everything he did. He got so excited that I think he only got every third thought out. He confused himself sometimes. How many times did he forget to lock that damn truck? Every day. Now, I actually grew up just around the corner. I had the honor of knowing his children and met Whizz when I was only about 16 years old. I pulled up to his house one fine evening in my super sweet grandmother's 1982 Chevy Nova, and the door flung open, like something exploded from the inside, and come to think of it, something probably did explode in there. I don't know if you've ever seen Ruth's temper firsthand, but it's very possible. So I look up, and there's all 16 feet of Whizz White, 6 feet about Whizz, 10 feet of hair, and all I could really see was his intimidating silhouette because he was backlit. Because you know this is a Whizz memory, so there must be a dramatic lighting effect. And he comes bounding down the stairs, bellowing, You're going to Salem State! Which is exactly what I did. I hit the gas and was at South Campus before I realized that the madman chasing me down Burby Road was more than likely Whizz White. So 2 years later, I did. I enrolled in Salem State, and I signed on for life with Whizz. I learned immediately that life with Whizz means you do nothing small. This man should have "Go Big or Go Home" tattooed across his chest, sailor style. I learned that and many other things from him throughout the years. For example, why build a 2-ton ship on stage when you can hang it from chains and smash it into a wall a few times? Another lesson, why paint a set pastel when you can make the entire Callan look like the Easter Bunny exploded? And really, there's no point in just moving some Shakespearean stairs around the stage. You should trap a few students in there and make them power them like hamsters on a wheel. Sherry has a therapy bill for you. And we cannot forget his almost religious devotion to pyrotechnics. When I was a freshman, I wondered, where did this sort of Gestapo-like commitment to fire safety come from? It came, I can answer 2 words, Hamlet dreams. You'd think the man would have learned to take it down a notch after that fiery inferno, but take it down a notch is not on the post-retirement tattoo list for Whizz White. Instead, when he decided to do You Can't Take It With You, and there was a fireworks display, as the ASM, I had a double fire extinguisher backpack and a pair of sunglasses to keep my retinas from burning. And really, only Whizz White could find a justification for taking Trojan women. For those of you who don't know, a play about many bereaved women mourning the loss of their sons and husbands. And in that play, put 6-foot flame cannons. But Whizz really wasn't just over the top in his productions. He also was over the top in his classroom. For those of you who had class with Whizz in the double sub basement, in his office that sort of resembled the great trash heap from Fraggle Rock. So after climbing 85 flights down and sorting your way through Hoffa in the city of Atlantis, you would start class with Whizz, where really most of us spent the majority of the time trying to get him off the subjects. I mean, give us some fanciful tangent about your colorful youth, or some extravagant, outlandish set or special effect, or best of all, if you could get him to explain the meaning of life and art via Zen Buddhism as illustrated by Star Wars metaphors, you were golden! Golden! Now, I took it. Oh, these are not the droids you're looking for. I took it a little bit farther. I actually signed up for a stint as his teaching assistant, where I learned how truly passionate this man is, especially if you disagree with him. We turned that classroom into a full-flying war zone. I'm not really sure. I mean, we hollered and argued about everything from proper plot format to exactly why I thought rehearsal should involve David Allen George tied to a chair, calling techniques, or really, how does one deal with Selena? I love you, Selena. I'm not really sure that those poor, terrified freshmen actually learned anything from us, but they damn well figured out how to dodge flying objects as we got into some more of our heated debates. Whizz, he's had a profound impact on my life and career, and I know that he's had a profound impact on many, many students throughout the years. And thanks to the miracles of the modern social media network, I would like to actually share with you what hundreds of students have to say about Whizz White, their memories of Whizz White, and what Whizz White taught them. So bear with me while I roll through some of these. Whizz White, energetic, larger than life, loud. Amazing, talented, brilliant. Boy, that guy's loud. Kind-hearted, don't chew the asbestos. Fan room blaze, I had no idea anyone's lungs could power that much voice. Make it work. Where did all the mirrors go? I want a follow dark. Did I mention loud? It's all about the explosion. Gold Velcro. Seriously, that dude is deafening. I got one. Shba. I'm gonna give that out. That was before my time. One of my favorites, I just turned 30. Never trust anyone over the age of 30. A dustpan named Stella. Stella! A 45-minute lecture on the screwdriver. I'm not sure if that's the tool or the drink. I'm gonna go with the drink. It's not a traffic circle, it's a traffic heliotropical ellipse. Rides in the van. One of my personal favorites I got, Super Cal and set designer Whizz Master Mainstage. Can't be done, meet Whizz. No, really, he's extremely frickin' loud. And one last resounding cry from many, many people of Aircasters. For many years and for many students, Whizz, you have been a teacher, you have been a mentor, and you have been a friend. More importantly, you inspired us and you taught us how, in not only art and in theater, but in life, how to go big or go home.
Thank you. Rachel, do you want to come up and we can choose the bobblehead? Would you mind doing that with me? I don't know where the bobblehead is, Rachel.
Should I just reach in and grab one?
Yeah, absolutely.
You want to do it?
No, you can. Why don't you come? Rachel, you come up.
Come up there?
Yeah, you come up.
All right. And the winner is number 238328. Did you get it?
I don't see it underneath the table. No. It only seems right that Whizz should also have his own bobblehead.
Yes?
Yes. Molly, thank you very much. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, you know, it is no mistake that Whizz has worked at Salem State all these years, because Whizz and Salem State really have the same mission, to give higher education to all who come. Whizz gave his students his time, all the time they needed. He gave his students his resources, all the resources they needed. That's the man's spirit. You know, we make jokes about the size of Whizz, but the glory of Whizz is there was never a student that came his way that he didn't help. There are other people and other places who give up on people, but Whizz never gave up on anyone, because Salem State doesn't give up on anyone. Whizz may be retiring, ladies and gentlemen, but we will never retire that spirit. That's a promise. Thanks, Whizz. Whizz, I'd like to give you two more of your students. Two working professionals in the field. You know them, George Berry and Kathy St. George.
I'm an acrobatic technician. I have the pipe box recruitment. Thanks for having me. I'm really happy to be here. This is overwhelming. I see all my group of friends here. Raise your hand. We're late 70s, and it's overwhelming for me. I cannot imagine what it's like for these guys to look at 40 years of what I'm looking at there. It's looking. I put together a little something for Whizz. And I was going to do it myself, but I decided that we should all do it together. So I learned an acting lesson, not from David, not from Charlotte, but from Spencer Tracy. They asked him, he said, what's the secret to good acting? And he just turned around quickly and he said, learn your lines. So, you guys need to learn your lines. It's only 4 words. I want you all to say, the first word is say. goodbye. Goodbye. Third word is two. Two. Fourth word, Whizz. Whizz. So I want you to say, you're going to say it 4 times, or sing it 4 times actually. We're going to do a little song and dance. I'm not going to dance, I'm going to play. So let's try it once quickly. Say goodbye to Whizz. Oh, that's going to be easier than I thought. Have you heard the hullabaloo through the halls of SSU? But a big and burly guy just about to say goodbye. Tall, strong, and full of passion. Lots of chips, now time to cash in. Here's to you, old friend, this little ditty I sang. Here we are to toast the star who gave so much to all of us. This night is his. Say goodbye, Whizz. We're gathered here from far and near for this guy here who has no peer in all showbiz. Spending time with you was always too fun. Let's go get ourselves another balloon. Crash! Keep your knees locked. There to you, allow. We'll all hug out. You showed us how. Now take a bow. The best there is. These words I've penned for my old friend. Do not pretend this is the end. The world is his. Say goodbye to
Just sing from here. Can I? Yeah, that's good sound. How is it? Testing, testing. Dearest Whizz, I am singing this to you, and I hope that you will hear it so you'll know. My heart beats like a hammer, and I stutter and I stammer every time I see you at a Salem stage show. I guess I'm just another fan of yours, and I thought I'd write and tell you so. You made me love you. I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to do it. You made me love you, and all the time you knew it. I bet you always knew it. You made me happy sometimes. You made me glad. But there were times, Whizz, no, you never made me feel too bad. You made me sigh 'cause I didn't want to tell you. I didn't want to tell you. I think you're grand. That's true, yes, I do, deed, I do, you know I do. I can't tell you what I'm feeling. Gosh, you're retiring. My heart is reeling. You know you made me love you. Oh, gee whiz. I don't want to bother you. I bet you got a lot of students that tell you the same thing, but I just had to tell you that I graduated from here before you got here, so I'm ancient. But I'll never forget the day Charlotte Ettinger and Jeff Huberman went into the Callan Studio Theater, which was then just a big... What was it? A smoking lounge. Oh. And Jeff said, I'm gonna build a theater, and I'm gonna bring in the best in the business, and his name is Whizz White. And here you are. Ah. And then I remember the first musical I did here in 1975. Was that it? Cabaret? And you said we're going to put the lights on a chaser and just go all around the proscenium. And this is all I think about Whizz, is just everything is so big. Okay, so you haven't changed since 1974. But it's such a thrill to be here. There was no theater major then. It was the Footlight Club. And to think what Whizz, Charlotte, Jeffrey Huberman, and David Allen George, Tom Luddy, Pat Zato, Vera Shepard, all the teachers that I had back in 74. What you have built here is just extraordinary. And I wasn't a theater major. I majored in elementary ed. But elementary ed! Yay! But the theater people at this college changed my life. And I left teaching after 5 years and have been an actor ever since. So... And it's thanks to these people. I can't tell you what I'm feeling. The thought that you're retiring, well, my heart is reeling. You know you made me love. You know you made me love. You know you made us love you.
This year. One of the things that they said that they were very impressed by was the fact that the administration here at Salem State University, even the president, knew all the workings of our program. They said at their school, it didn't happen. I said, well, it doesn't surprise me because our president comes to all of our productions. And we notice and we're grateful. Right now, our classrooms in the basement of the Sullivan Building are being renovated. President Meserve's been working hard trying to get the main stage renovated for us. It's come a long way, Whizz. You built it. Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to introduce the president of the university, a president who respects the arts, and I hope after my work here tonight, tenure. Ladies and gentlemen, President Patricia Meserve.
Thank you so very much, and it really is just a privilege to be here tonight, but I need to make sure everybody understands something right now. The funny part's over. The theatrical performances are over. I have had two revelations as I've been sitting here. One is a discovery, and one now is a great fear. The discovery is I know why I'm not allowed in the theater when they're building the sets. I think somehow there seems to be a group of people that know when I might be drifting in the direction and I get moved away. I fully understand now. The second is, if this is how we treat our retiring faculty members, I'll never have another faculty member retire. It really is, in all seriousness, it is a delight to be here, and I just applaud everyone who has been up at the mic. It was just a wonderful tribute to just an incredible, incredible man. Ruth, thank you for sharing him with us for all of these years. Just a gift, a gift. Henry and Claire Dembowski, thank you for sponsoring this evening, along with Patricia Zato and the many people who contributed to make this event occur. And I know people that will continue to contribute to make certain that we have the wonderful theater that's been described. My history with Whizz is a very short 4 years long, so I don't have great tales that I can share. But I can tell you that what has been said here tonight through humor, I have heard in so many different ways about the wonderful creativity of the man, and I have witnessed it in wonderful productions, and certainly the most recent of Rent was just spectacular. His commitment to students, the presence of so many alumni here to celebrate the work that the education that he helped provide you, and the experiences that you've had since speak so much to the importance of teaching and education for Whizz. The camaraderie. Can I come to the theater department? Is there an opening now, David? Can I share an office with you? You can obviously see just the wonderful support people have for each other, the passion for the arts, the willingness to work in what are difficult conditions, but still being able to continually have a group of students graduate with an excellent education behind them, having learned, perhaps in some ways, learning more as we think of some of the challenges that they've had to deal with, being able to go forward. It's been said in many ways that Whizz is truly irreplaceable, and I believe that is true. And the comfort that I take in his retirement is knowing that he has already said to me, but I'll be around. I'll be here. I can't quite leave the students. I can't quite leave the department. So he will be certainly part of our work. It's been said that Whizz certainly was one of the founding members of the theater department in elevating it to the heights that it is today, and that is absolutely true. Having the opportunity to speak with some of you tonight and speaking with people over the past couple of years, it's so clear that he was instrumental in building what is a world-class theater department with, again, the evidence just sitting in the room with us. So I want to express on behalf of the entire university, and I think I speak for all of the faculty, staff, students, alumni that have had the opportunity to know Whizz, that we just so deeply appreciate your years here at Salem State College and now Salem State University, that you really won't be replaced. It will be hard to imagine the next production without your creativity behind it. We will miss you terribly in that full role, but you will always be a member of Salem State University. You will always be part of our community, part of what is so important about this institution, and we thank you so very deeply for all that you have given us. Congratulations. As Whizz told me about his pending retirement, and then as we spoke over the year, while there was a great sadness, and for me, it was a very emotional moment when Whizz told me he was retiring, but as we went through the year, there was a joy that began to replace that, and that is that Whizz is going to become a grandfather. So as a small tribute of his wonderful years here at Salem State University, but more importantly, a tool for him to be able to use as he moves into being a grandfather, we have a Salem State University rocking chair for you. Right behind you. I thought it was a rocking chair. Oh, the rockers are in the back. Okay. It is going to be a rocking chair. So I hope that will have a wonderful place, and you know that your father will take great joy in the rocking and singing to the junior White.
You thought I was kidding when I told you about the rocking chair in the driveway outside the theater.
No, we wanted to make sure you had it. So please, I am delighted to present to you Whizz White.
Thank you. Thank you all. I've been told to be brief. Particularly by Patricia. Really? You really need this? Get out of here! My colleagues, my students, my former students, my administration, my staff, I stand here in awe because all of you connect me with all of these things that we have done together. You all know that I'm a Patriots fan. And one of the things that makes me a fan is Bill Belichick. And I feel like a little bit like the Bill Belichick of the theater department. I have taken actors who weren't that great, and I've very nicely explained to them how great they would be as a stage manager. I've taken people that outside of the theater space could not stand to be in the same room together, and I've helped them to see how theater, being the greatest of the collaborative arts, makes it possible for them to exist in that room for that time that it takes to put that show together and to make the best production possible. I think that there are a couple of things that I hope that I have given all of you that have been a part of my life. The first is that if we don't have fun doing this, whatever it is that we end up doing, then why are we doing it? And I hope that although sometimes my fun went into areas that are questionable. that all of you saw that when it came time to do the work, when it came time to do the thing that made us all a part of this together, is that fun became a way of working. If life is work and work isn't fun, what a crappy life. We just did Rent, and 525,600 minutes. How do you count a year in a life? Well, 19,447,200 minutes. That's my 37 years here. Some of you have been around, and I've been playing around with numbers. I accidentally became the archivist of the department. I don't know how that happened. My wife would tell you that the only thing that makes me an archivist is that I'm a pack rat. But somehow I saved a poster, and I took some slides, and I saved the programs from all the shows. And those of you that don't know, that are here, that are students or people from the past, if you email me, I will try my best to get you a copy of what is now called The History of Salem State Theater up to 2011 on a CD. I digitized all those slides so that somehow all of you would have some memories, a little late, but now is a time in our lives when it really makes a difference. And I love looking at those pictures, and I love noting that this student or that student had to do with this particular thing. You know, it's so amazing to me that again, using the football reference, this is not a thing that I did by myself, and I never came here to do that. I didn't come here to start a department. I came here because I got a job. And I have to tell you, have things changed? I got this job with a phone call. I don't even think anybody knew if I had any records. I don't even think I'd finished my master's thesis at the time. And Charlotte Ettinger took Jeff Huberman's word and said, we need you here because we want to start something. And I got here and I found this place. People have tried to lure me away over the years. Some of you know about some of them, some of you don't. Some of you know the funny stories. Disney wanted me to be the head stage manager at Disneyland, Disney World in Florida, and much to my mother's chagrin, they told me I'd have to wear a suit every day, and I said, nah, thanks. And people ask me, why didn't you go to Dartmouth or UMass Amherst? Why didn't you follow Jeff? Why didn't you go to University of Texas at Austin? Why, I don't know, these places that said, wow, you're great, come here, we'll give you lots of money, we have all this stuff. But you know what they didn't have? They didn't have you. There was a guy that almost messed up all of our lives, that was involved in the education system here a number of years ago. And he once said, and he was quoted in the Globe as saying, why do we need to spend all this money educating bus drivers' sons? And I went home that night, and my wife, who forces me to read the newspaper every day, and I love her for it, she said, what is that about? And all of a sudden I realized that it is the very nature of what Salem State College, and now university, one of its missions was to be there for the people who only had one shot at this in this state. And when I met you, the first of you and then the rest of you as you came along year after year, I said, you know what I love about my students is that they know that this is their shot. This is their opportunity. This is the place that they can come, that they can feel safe, that they can do this, and that they can achieve whatever it is that they want to do. And I have been so proud of being a part of that. The 160 productions, the 800 production meetings. I thought about this moment for a long time over the past couple of months. And I knew one thing is that none of you wanted to hear me read a speech. And the other thing that I knew was that there is a spirit in this room that started with Al Musson, my very first student. Where is Al? And I decided at that moment that this was something very special to do. I have taken it very seriously. And I got it reconfirmed when my children went to college, and I realized, my gosh, those college professors get to spend more time with my kids than I do. And that was what happens to us. We get to spend that time with you at a time when you are becoming people, when you are deciding who you are, when you are discovering what it is that you can do and what you want to do. And I have to tell you that I am so proud to have been a part of that for every single one of you. And I thank you from the bottom of my heart for giving me that opportunity. Thank you.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, all you really have left to do is to give money. And there's a tribute book in the back of the room, and if you could sign it, it would be great for Whizz. I thank you all for coming, ladies and gentlemen. It's such a joy to see all of you. Whizz, again, thanks for everything.